Chase to the Checkered is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Sometimes you've got to stop and smell the pizza. And by Chevrolet and your local Chevrolet Geo dealer, the official vehicle of Jennerstown Speedway. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's program. I'm Mike Nelson, along with Steve Richard, to bring you the action that took place on Saturday evening, July 16th at Jennerstown Speedway, as Commercial Credit presented our NASCAR Winston Racing Series 4-division action of the John Auto Parts Pure Leader Late Models Pro Stocks, Riverside Bilo Street Stocks, and the Pure Stocks. Steve Marino, going into this week's program, let's take a look at the win column, how they tally up in our John Auto Parts Pure Leader Late Model division. Let's see, we've got Charlie Cragen with 4 feature wins. He's a dominant feature winner so far. Right. Then we got a guy with a broken arm that may not be here. His car may be here. We don't know that yet, but he won't be in competition tonight. But with 3 feature wins is Tom Erickson. Then a whole bunch of drivers out there with a win apiece, and some that have yet to visit Victory Lane.
Guys like Steve Pellis, Rick Miller, Barry Audi, they've all been in Victory Lane in years past, but not this year. Will tonight be there tonight? Also a young pilot by the name of Robbie Marhefka, who's performed quite well this year. He's been putting a drive on toward the front of the pack. He's due for a win, I think. And it's
Rick Miller, another one of those drivers.
Rick Miller, another one. And besides that, it's going to be a 35-lap race. We ran 200 laps last week. It's going to be like a heat race for these guys. And talking about guys who haven't won, let's drop down a division to our Pro Stocks. Mike Hollywood Heminger finished second last week in only his 3rd week in the car. So he's pushing his way toward the front, too. I hope we're not jinxing him by talking about him at the beginning of the program. But it's going to be real interesting racing tonight, I'm sure. Fast dashes for everybody, I think.
Well, stay with us. We'll be right back with all the racing action right after these messages.
Falling in love again. What am I to do?
Introducing a whole new reason to fall in love with Pizza Hut. Now when you order any medium or large pizza at menu price, you get free salad, free breadsticks, and dessert pizza, it's free too.
What am I to do?
You can come on down to Pizza Hut, because a deal this good is love at first sight.
Cruise into your local Chevrolet Geo dealer now for the all-new Camaro.
Do you want a career that's in demand? Consider training as an automotive technician. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, demand is rising for skilled automotive technicians. National education centers can train you to become part of this growing field. You'll learn how to diagnose and repair today's complex mechanical and electronic automotive systems. Everything you need to get started as an automotive technician. This is a great career. Call NEC's Vail Technical Institute campus today. Call 1-800-722-7337. 1-800-722-7337. Call now.
We are back with our first feature for the Thunder and Lightning division, Steve. This is the Riverside Bilo Street Stocks in their 20 circuit main as the field lines up down the back straight. Want to remind everybody that the winner of this event, as you look at the top 3 rows, receive a guaranteed starting or qualifying position in the Flemington Fair Speedway Race of Champions in October. One of the biggest races in the country for this division, so it has an added incentive, as Nick Rosa on the point is excited about that.
I'm sure they're all excited about this. They love the opportunity to make that trip to Flemington. And as the field comes out of turn 4, it will be up to Nick Rosa and Jack Satosky to bring the field up to speed. And oh, we're jammed up already as we come down the front straightaway, running bumper to bumper. The top 7 cars actually, just let's hope that there isn't a little miscue here, because we could have some major fender denting if that happens.
Well, as they continue that type of pregnant mechanical caterpillar, if you could call it that, down into turn 3, Jack Satosky from Stoystown having problems. They're fighting it out with Trevero. Hey, let's take it to a call. Oh my goodness, we have 3 different groups out there. They fight their way to turn 1 and 2. It looks like a high-speed parade lap. Rosa on the point on the second circuit down the back straight. Oh my goodness, we're running out of racing room. Down the back straightaway, 7 automobiles, 8, 9, 10 of them. All hooked up. Talladega, eat your hearts out. Here comes the trap down the front straightaway. This is going to be trouble. This is out of control. I can smell bent sheet metal in the air down the back straight. Rosa with the Budweiser 46 on the point. And it's Havoc City behind his back bumper. 2 by 2 in 5 rows out there, battling out for all the the top 10 positions.
Rosa's still on the point. You expect this field to start to spread out, don't you, Mike? Well, let's go back to the call.
Working out of turn 2, Nick Rosa is glad he doesn't have a rear view mirror in this automobile, because if he did, he'd need to be put on a heart monitor. In 3 and 4, he continues with this lead spot. People are all over his back. Oh, no! Oh, look at this down the front straight. Oh, my goodness, we avoided near disaster. Ouch. Ouch, 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 Steve.
A little banging going on out there.
These drivers are unbelievable, though. That would have been a pile-up a couple of years ago at the Lower Highlands Oval, but everybody keeps control, keeps their cool behind, and they're able to keep things going. One of those drivers is Hooversville, Pennsylvania's Carl Trevero. He's on the point position. Jack Satosky from Stoystown on the outside of Rick Milev, who works the low line, and him with the 37. There's Marty Edwards.
And he's trying to make amends for what happened last week when he thought the race was over but wasn't quite. So he's going to try and push his way to the point. But right now it's Carl Trevero.
By the way, he did win his heat race.
Yes, he did win his heat race. Yeah. But he still has a ways to go if he wants to win this feature. It is Carl Trevero on the point, but just barely. And even as I say that, watch the number 37 on the inside of Rick Milev, looking for his first career win. He assumes the point position as Jack Satosky and Carl Trevero actually get together there a little bit and spread the field out just a touch. We've been racing like this with close quarters since the drop of the green flag, and we're going to move ahead in the event. And guess what? We're still racing close quarters. This is the battle for the lead, and it is now Sean the Bullet Beam who's pulled up behind Milev. 3 laps to go. Things really beginning to heat up, even more so than they were out there with those top 3 front-running cars, Mike.
Well, it's amazing the way the rules are in the Riverside Bilo Street Stocks. It positions the cars where no one can really just literally run away and dominate the event, no matter how much they fine-tune the chassis. We're seeing that. Now, Rick Milev's trying for a career first win. He's never won at the Lower Highlands Oval. He's a sophomore pilot in his second year of ever racing, let alone just the pavement. And here comes Sean the Bullet Beam, a veteran out there, and it's time for us to take it to another call. 3 automobiles in this poker game. Down the front straight, it's show and tell time. Beam says, I'm going to go high. Watch Dave Wilt. Wilt, where's he going to go? Beam still working high. Rick Milev down low. Beam stays high. He begins to set up for the challenge. They work in 3 and 4. Milev still looks good. Sean the Bullet Beam on the outside, trying to put the throttle down on the 4th Thunderbird, but a career first win for Rick Milev.
Has to be a big rush in victory lane. It's Rick Milev with a career first win here at Jennerstown in this 20-lap main for the Riverside Bilo Street Stocks. And as he's getting his picture taken along with a number of other people from the Jennerstown Speedway. And let's take a look at our top 5. There's Rick with the win, Sean Beam in second, Dave Wilt third, Marty Edwards in 4th, and Brian Audie rounding out the top 5. Interestingly enough, Brian was running a Rick Sheeler car. He lost a clutch in his original ride in a heat race. So that's our top 5 back to victory lane, and a smiling Rick. And Mike, I think it's time to move on to yet another race coming up. We've got our thoroughbreds.
That's right, the commercial credit presentation of our NASCAR Winston Racing Series. With all the action that's gone on already in our Riverside Bilo Street Stocks with their tight racing, we now move ahead to our premier division, the ones that receive the Winston Racing Series points, the John Auto Parts Pure Later late models. And we'll be posting the top 3 rows here shortly. It's young Ken Imler on the point, outside of him Barry Audie, Mark Catone, Rick Miller, Glenn Galt, and Robbie Marhefka. You know, we talked at the intro of the show, could we have someone new in the victory lane in this commercial credit 35-lap main?
Refresh my memory. How many different winners do we have this week? I know we only have 2 repeat winners. How many different winners do we have? Single winners?
I don't know. Weren't you supposed to keep track of that?
I think it was somewhere around 7, wasn't it? Yeah, anyways, we're going to come up to speed, and on the pole it is going to be up to Ken Imler and Brian Audie, or Barry Audie,
yeah,
excuse
you got
me.
The wrong division
you did it a couple of weeks ago. I did it this week. To bring the field up to speed, they're running side by side. They separate themselves slightly from that flock of cars just behind them. And before the first lap is over, it is Barry Audie on the point position in command.
I want to mention something about Audie. He was the fast timer tonight in qualifications for these automobiles. The 4th time in the 1994 season he's been the fast timer out of some 8 to 9 events, yet he has not been in victory lane as we watch the rest of the field begin to string out here a little bit. Everybody, though, right there in competition, and as they dive into turns 3 and 4, Audie tries to extend his lead. He's not able to do it. Rick Miller, meanwhile, in the Powerflow 19 begins to close up, and then we're looking at the middle of the pack, but we're going to go to a call. Lonnie Vaughn down under him. He begins the pressure. Now Miller battles for second. This is the 3rd circuit. Rick Miller gets together. Look out! Oh, no! Oh, complete disaster in turn 3.
And we have a camera in turn 3, and what we're going to be doing is taking another look at this accident as they come down the back straight into turn 3. There's our leader, Barry Audie, and watch this. Rick Miller gets the car sideways, loses the control, and from that point on, cars on the outside just nowhere to go. Marketon, heavy impact on the outside retaining wall. Stevie Pellis as well got caught up in it, made hard contact in the outside retaining wall. Fortunately, the driver's okay, a bit shaken up. Mike, let's look at it again.
Yeah, here it is from our original camera up top of the press box. There is Miller, and then collects Catone. Robbie Marhefka into the wall. Bobby Henry gets collected with this thing. Stevie Pellis involved with this. Chuck Kennedy back into Stevie Pellis's car. He hit clear down the middle of the back straightaway. Watch this again. Now watch the red car, Charlie Cragen, right in the center of the screen. Slows down. No one hits him. Everybody ends up hitting the walls, and that lucky guy gets through another crash. It's unbelievable the fortune he's had in any type of pileups to be able to get through him like that.
I guess they say when your luck is running good, it runs good. It is not running good for Robbie Marhefka.
Now this is wild. He goes into pit.
There's nobody there.
They all ran to over the turn 3 figuring he couldn't get the car back. He gets out of the car and it's like, where's my crew?
Where are they?
Come on, guys.
Let's get a jack
back
here. We got.
I made it up. There they come. And they come running back
all
to
out
try
of
to
breath.
fix this car. The whole rear end was shifted. Amazingly, they were able to fix this. In fact, everybody was able to fix their cars to some degree and get back out on the track, with the exception of Steve Pellis and Mark Catone. Now we're going to go on to racing action. This is the restart. And as we go in, this is actually the second restart because Henry ran out and he dropped off the pace and caused another yellow flag. So we see the battle here for second place position. The story, Lonnie Vaughn in the Chrysler car. He's on the roll, Steve. Look at him diving down the low side in this battle for second place.
Vaughn not being shy tonight. He really has the car hooked up. It is handling very well. He's always had the horsepower. The problem with Lonnie sometimes is he just can't get the car to behave the way he'd like to on the track, but it's definitely working as well. Here comes
the Golden Horseshoe.
That's what we say. The number 42, Charging Charlie Cragen, working his way up through the field. He's now in third place. He'll set his sights on Vaughn. As a matter of fact, he's beginning to close the ground up on Vaughn right now as he's passed Imler in that number 3 spot.
We still have Barriotti on the point, though, in a Stoystown Auto Record 75 Camaro. And there's a good look at the fast timer this evening. This driver with a Jack Tant engine in that Port City chassis machine has been hooked up and flying, but he just doesn't get the luck. And right now he continues leading this event as the field works out of turns 3 and 4. And then, you know, as we go down here, watch what happens here. Snooky Williams, Kennemetal number 6, right there to the low side. Jeff Dunbar gets together with him, up, a spin. But watch the great reaction of everybody else. High and low, nothing happens there. So we're going to take this on. It's lap 15, and we're back to racing action as the field is up the full song, and you've got all these position battles. Glenn Galt coming up through the field, but there's Audie, and here comes Cragen.
Cragen making the pass on Vaughn at this stage of the game, and it looks as though Barry might actually be slowing down just a little bit, although Cragen is definitely putting the pressure on. We talked at the beginning of the race that he is one of our repeat winners. As a matter of fact, he's won 3, 4.
It's actually 4.
4. Okay, he's won 4 already at Jennerstown, looking for number 5. He does have a sizable margin to make up on Audie right now, though, so he's got his work cut out for him.
And the car, look at it fading the turns. Looks like a little bit of push there, meaning the front end does not want to turn. But this driver with a lot of experience will compensate for that. Sometimes they're able to change the brake bias, front to rear brakes, to make these cars handle and change. And now in 3 and 4, the car looked real tight, or like it was on rails, and he's able to close right up to Barriotti. Now he's right up to his back bumper. There the car's going wide again, although he might be doing that to keep the tires soft. There's so many different techniques here. You can't really second guess or speculate what these drivers are trying to do. But I know one thing he's trying to do, Steve. He's trying to outfox Barriotti, and he's going to dive to the low side. But, you know, Audie's a guy that is determined to get into victory lane this year, and he and Cragen have had a few tussles out there already before. So he's still right there looking to hold every racing groove he can as Lonnie Vaughn continues with the Chrysler product in the 3rd place position. But here comes Cragen.
He's
going the outside, Steve. So watch this down the front straightaway. Audie says no, and he gently closes the door.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Cragen's going to try it again. In turns 1 and 2 on the outside, pulls up along Audie's door. Will he make the pass? Well, they're side by side down the back straight. He gets a nose in front of Audie. Can Audie hold him off? No. Cragen assumes the point.
Cragen's able to get that position. And then what we're going to do here, as he establishes that, he goes right down. Look how he pulls away from Audie. We're going to move ahead in this event and take it to the last lap. Now, here's the story of the race. Look at Glenn Galt, all battered up after that crash, coming up through the field. He's challenging right there for 3rd place. But look at the distance right there. Cragen has it, the commercial credit, 35-lap main for the John Auto Parts Pure Later Late Models to Cragen.
Cragen back in victory lane for the 5th time this season, with a little bit of luck being able to avoid that early race incident. Let's see who else finished in our top 5. Barriotti has to settle for 2nd after leading the event for quite a while. Lonnie Vaughn, good 3rd.
That's a career high for him.
And Glenn Galt, excellent 4th
Incredible.
place finish after being involved in that accident. Ken Emler manages a top 5 finish as well. You know, Mike, a lot of our late model competitors drive cars that require more than just the kind of gas you or I use in our car. Let's find out more.
This race break is brought to you by Chevrolet and your local Chevrolet Geo dealer, the official vehicle of Jennerstown Speedway. You know, when you talk about high-performance racing engines at Jennerstown in our Giant Auto Parts Pure Later late model division particularly, you talk about a very specific fuel that's needed for these engines to make these cars run. And when we talk about fuel, we're talking about racing gasoline. Joining me is Steve Pellis, and we're going to ask Steve a couple questions about the racing gas that's used in these machines. First of all, racing gasoline, if I'm on the street and I'm driving along, I can use 87 octane. Maybe I can go to 94 octane if I want to for a high-performance street machine. What's the octane rating in a gasoline here?
The octane here, you can get several different octanes, but we use about 115 octane in our engines.
Why is it so high?
Well, you know, we run a high-performance engine, so you need a high-performance gasoline to go with it.
All right, now I've noticed some of these gasolines, they're colored like blue or purple. Is that the mixture, or is there a dye or something in that?
Yeah, it's just more or less a dye, Mike. It sort of identifies each gasoline to what octane it is, so you don't get it mixed up.
Now, this gasoline costs how much a gallon?
Well, you're anywhere from $4 to $5 a gallon.
Ouch, that can be pretty expensive. Do you have an idea how long this lasts, mile per gallon that you get in one of these racing engines?
Right now, we're getting a whopping 2.5 miles a gallon.
So it's not a poor man's sport when it comes to the fuel, but you got to have it for these engines.
That's right, you can't run without it.
Well, you can see that you could go little empty in the pocket real fast when it comes to running racing gasoline and racing engines, but you got to have it. This race break has been brought to you by Chevrolet and your local Chevrolet Geo dealer, the official vehicle of Jennerstown Speedway.
Cruise into your local Chevrolet Geo dealer now for the all-new Camaro.
Falling in love again. What am I to do?
Introducing a whole new reason to fall in love with Pizza Hut. Now when you order any medium or large pizza at menu price, you get free salad, free breadsticks, and dessert pizza, it's free too.
What am I to do?
You can come on down to Pizza Hut, because a deal this good is love at first sight.
This Saturday, 7 p.m., it's AP Parts Meet the Challenge Night at Jennerstown Speedway, featuring twin 35s for the Giant Auto Parts Pure Later late models. See 2 late model features for the price of 1, plus a complete NASCAR Winston Racing Series program for the Pro Stocks, Riverside, Bilo Street Stocks, and Pure Stocks. Gates open at 4, late model time trials at 6:30, and racing at 7 p.m. Be here when the Chevrolet official pace cars turn loose all the excitement. That's this Saturday, 7 p.m. It's AP Parts Meet the Challenge Night, featuring twin 35s. See 2 late model features for the price of 1 at Jennerstown Speedway. We're back, and there's a look at our Chevrolet official vehicle pace car, the beautiful Camaro Z28. Behind that automobile, the drivers of our Pro Stock division as they prepare for their commercial credit 25 circuit main.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good field here under the lights at Jennerstown as they work their way on their final parade lap. And, you know, these cars, Mike, not quite as fast as our late models, but they've been putting on an excellent show over the last few weeks. Some very, very good tight racing from start to finish. Here is our front 3 rows dynamite, Don Wyand on the point with Tim Tokarski on his outside. Alki Cunningham, Mike Heminger, his 4th week back in a Pro Stock. We talked about him at the beginning of the show. Butch Durkis and Jerry Wisner rounding out the front 3 rows. A good field of cars, and it will be up to Davidsville, Pennsylvania's Don Wyand to bring the field up to speed. Former late model pilot Ron Brutt drops the green flag. We're off to the races. Don not quite coming up to speed as fast as he would like, and it's Alki Cunningham diving low to the inside who takes the early point position.
And look at Tarkowski fall back through the field. He only has a couple weeks of experience racing on pavement, while Mikey Heminger, the Hollywood man, on the outside of Butch Durkis. That's quite a challenge on a driver that's already been in victory lane for this young pilot making the transition up to this division. Now he falls back, and he's with Jerry Wisner, the flying Sunday school teacher from New Creek, West Virginia. But look at how tight everybody's staying at the beginning of this event. Down the back straight, young Alki Cunningham. There's a driver with not much experience. He started late last season, Steve Areno, and he's only has maybe about 10 starts on pavement, but he's really showing some flair leading this field down the front straight.
Calls his hometown Hagerstown, Pennsylvania, or Hagerstown, Maryland, we should say.
Right,
good racing town, so he's very familiar with racing in general. We're going to move ahead in the event here, Mike. It's lap 7. We're still looking at the battle for the lead. It is still Alki Cunningham on the point, but it's Butch Durkis who's now in second, and here comes the number 07 of Jeff Dunmire. He's now in 4th place. He sets his sights on Durkis. Actually, Wyatt's still in 2nd place. Durkis is in 3rd. Here comes Jeff Dunmire, though. He's been the hot shoe in the division, currently leading in track points, and he's going to put some pressure on here to work his way toward the front. But it is still Cunningham on the point position, showing very, very well tonight. Dunmire now working the outside of Durkis as he works toward the point position. Wyatt saying, oh my goodness, my rear view mirror is filled. Let's go to a call.
Yep, Dunmire and Butch Durkis. Dunmire working it outside, trying to make that move. In the battle for 3rd place position. Everybody closing up on Elke Cunningham, the sophomore pilot. Here comes Dunmire, the long way around the racing surface. Tees up on Don Wyatt's automobile. Dunmire pats Butch Durkis down the back straight on the 8th circuit. Dunmire still on the move. To the outside of Dunmire, Don Wyatt. He defuses Wyatt, moves up the challenge on the 47 of Elke Cunningham. Oh, look at this bearing down of Jeff Dunmire on Cunningham. That has to be intimidating, Steve Areno, as they work down the back straightaway. Dunmire will go up to that high side, but we move on. I didn't want anybody to be confused here. We move on a few laps later, and Dunmire still chasing Cunningham. You got to give credit to this driver from Hagerstown, Maryland. He's hung on there pretty well, but all of a sudden the car fades up there, and here comes Dunmire.
We almost have to wonder, as well as the car had been handling, maybe he just was looking in the rearview mirror, preoccupied with Dunmire on his tail, and just got himself a little too high, wide, and handsome. But it's Dunmire on the point position. Here comes Chucky Kessler on the low line. He's challenging for 2nd place as well. Cunningham says, I'll have none of that. But again, he fades high in the turn, and that allows Kessler to take over the number 2 spot.
Kessler's able to sneak through, but now we move on to the last lap. Here's Dunmire. Where's Kessler? Well, he's there all right, but he's fallen somewhat behind the pace that Jeff Dunmire set. This 6-pack Shack & Sports Bar 07 Camaro-bodied automobile prepared by the Bruning brothers is an unbelievable car in this division, and he wins yet another checker at the Laurel Highlands Oval. This commercial credit, 20 circuit main for the pro stocks.
And not only is it an unbelievable car, it's an unbelievable driver as well. Jeff Dunmire has shown well from street stocks to now the pro stocks. There he is with the win. Kessler gets 2nd, Durkis 3rd, Wisner 3rd, and Elke Cunningham does manage to hold on to a top 5 finish in this pro stock feature. Back to victory lane, Jeff Dunmire with a big smile and the trophy in hand.
Boom. You know what that means?
It is time for
the fireworks division coming up. There they are, a flock of them again.
Fireworks on the track, not over the track, Mike.
This is a pure stocks in a commercial credit 15 circuit main. IH, Elijah Hawatt, LH. I can't even get the
there it is.
There
Elijah
it is.
Hawatnik on the point. Robin Rimmel on his outside. Kevin Center, Aaron Will, Rick Ackerman, and Brian Thomas. Rounding out the front 3 rows to start this 15-lap feature event. And talk about a lot of cars, Mike. We do have a lot of cars.
A lot of cars, and 1, 2, at least three female pilots in this field. 4 at the track tonight. As we mentioned, Yvette Hahn has started racing in the Riverside by those street stocks, but we concentrate now on the green flag and the start for our fireworks division of pure stocks, and they go in to turns 1 and 2. And the goal each and every week is to see if we can make it 1 lap without bending up the sheet metal. And
usually we have a lap where we're 3, sometimes 4 wide, and it is a traffic jam down the back straight. Just a flock of cars, no ifs, ands, or buts. This is a heavy metal division, Mike.
The 78 of Kevin Santer out there on the low side. Up high is Robin Rimmel. He tries to work over him, and they're still 3 too wide in the back there. All kinds of different, the slower the cars go, the more the racetrack they can use. And we see that clearly with this division as cars can pick literally 3 different lanes on the racing surface.
3? I see at least 5 different racing lines out there, Mike.
I didn't think you could count that.
All right. Anyways, it's still Elijah Hawatnik on the point. He says, I'll lead the way as the field works its way down the front straight. And boy, I tell you, look at this parade he's leading. A 4th of July parade should be so exciting. Let's move ahead in the event. Just 1 lap later, and things are really getting hot, Mike. Let's go to a call.
Working down into turns 1 and 2. Oh, look at this. Santer fades up high. Hawatnik says, I want the lead back. Oh, he almost loses him. Oh, Aaron Will does. Oh, look out. Oh, boy, here we go. Ooh, where are we going, Steve?
I don't know. You tell me. I know as we're doing some scatter in there, Mike. It's a self-cleaning accident.
Yeah, self-cleaning. This division's unbelievable, with the exception of 1 car. We'll get a replay of this. Watch what happens here. Elijah Hawatnik loses, and then a real overcorrection and some help.
About face.
Aaron Williams, a Penn State student, loses it, and everybody else scatters. Conway gets the worst of it. He hits a wall. If it wasn't for that, we could have kept green flag racing. We move on the event. This is back to racing on lap 5. Are we over yet with this kind of nonsense? Not yet. No. There's a little help there.
Robin Rimmel. We got a loose bumper.
Yep, we ejected a bumper along there, and so we're chrome fender denting along turn 3.
And everybody keeps moving, except
Larry
Robin.
Corcoran in camera 3 is very busy tonight. He's going to show us another angle of this, and we can see what happens. Brian Thomas right there, and into the back bumper with a 22 of Rimmel. Rimmel does a slide for life, and also collects the Wildman a little bit.
Right under Larry. And actually, everybody does keep moving except Robin Rimmel. Now, we're going to start everybody all over
try
again
this all
here.
in. We're back to racing, and we still have more problems. 2 female pilots get together. Linda Schwab gets the worst of it. They go high and low. Mitzi Schultz continues on. So, you know, more miscuing there. Now, still time to go back to racing. Lead battle, lap 10. And look who's in the picture now. The 93 automobile, Dan Campbell. Kevin Sanders right up there. Elijah Watnick's nowhere to be found. Here comes the 19 of Scott, the Terminator 2 Coconut,
And Mark
the
Gordon.
Cobra.
Mark Gordon.
Right, so you got 4 automobiles battling for that lead spot. But we see, as we move on the final circuit, it is the 93 of Dan Campbell who has established that lead and continued to hold it. As he comes around for the checkered look at the automobile, looks like an accordion, Steve Areno.
It's fender dented for real, but it doesn't matter because it's first across the start-finish line. He picks up the checkered and the win in the fireworks 15-lap main on a commercial credit presentation here at Jennerstown. Campbell with the win, Sanders second, Mark Gordon third, Kokenauer fourth, and Mike Bacalon fifth in this battle of survival.
Campbell and Victor Lane, stay with us. We'll have some words of wisdom right after these messages.